the dignity of human life from conception to natural death, we did not have to look very long or very far. For within our own parish community, we have a man who models that respect every day in caring for his son Adam. And we are so very blessed to have him as a member, him and Adam, as members of our parish community. I now present to you Jeff Wright.
Hey, good morning. Oh, yeah. Trust me, we are the ones that have been blessed because you have helped us through a heck of a lot, and especially making us feel so welcome here. So to really tell my story or introduce me, I'd rather you listen to a video that one of my students made. He went to Western Kentucky University, and for a final exam, he called me up and said, hey, could I videotape some of your experiments that you do in class? He then said, after, I guess about 6 months, he said, you know, it's just not coming together right. Could I follow you around at home? And I said, Zach, I just don't think you know what you're asking for. Well, he put 144 hours of video into 12 minutes and ended up winning a collegiate Oscar for it. And so anyway, I just want to let you see this video, and we'll get a little bit more about our life here. We're going to pray the technology works this morning.
Saying
60 times a day. That's once a second. You're not getting that fast. You get pretty tired. Ladies and gentlemen, from that vast nebula of knowledge at the center of the universe, originating from the power of the Big Bang, whose mass and energy are infinite at the speed of light, it's Molecule Man! This is when you clap, because a grown man is standing in front of you in a spandex suit. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. This is the crescendo. A little bit louder. There you go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. I am Molecule Man, and I am here today to teach you all about, yes, the density of light. Now, most of you might know that density comes from all 104 chemical elements that we have, and light comes from the energy that those elements give you. Now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute. We don't have time to learn all 104 chemical elements. Don't forget, I am a superhero. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to teach you all 104 chemical elements in a matter of 1 minute and 25 seconds. Here we go. There are so many elements you probably never heard them all, so I will sing a song and I sure hope I don't forget them all. Here we go. There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen, and oxygen, and nitrogen, and rhenium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, and americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, platinum, and astatine, astatine, and radium, and gold, protactinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium. There's yttrium, terbium, actinium, beryllium, and boron, gadolinium, niobium, iridium, and strontium, and silicon, and silver, and samarium, bismuth, and lithium, beryllium, and barium. La 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 la. You're not even taking notes. You're like a bunch of public school kids. There's holmium and helium and hafnium and erbium and phosphorus and francium and thorium and terbium, manganese, mercury, molybdenum, magnesium, dysprosium, and scandium, cerium, and cesium, lead, praseodymium, platinum, plutonium, palladium, chromium, potassium, tellurium, tantalum, technetium, titanium, tellurium, and cadmium and calcium and chromium and curium. There's sulfur, californium, fermium, berkelium, and osmium, and iridium, isonium, nobelium, and argon, krypton, neon, radon, xenon, zinc, and rhodium, chlorine, carbon, cobalt, copper, tungsten, tin, and sodium. Now, these are the only ones of which the news has come to Harvard, and there may be many others, they just haven't been discovered. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, all 104 chemical elements come from this one.
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt you.
Holly, I'm giving a presentation here.
I think there's been a big misunderstanding.
What's that?
Well, we asked you to speak about the dignity of life, not density and light.
No, yeah, I understood you on the phone. You said density and light because I'm a science teacher. You told me to come.
No, we asked you to speak on the dignity of life because it's Respect Life Month. And dignity of life, Respect Life Month, not density and light.
And that's why you had it in a Catholic church.
Yeah.
So you're telling me I'm standing in front of a bunch of Catholics in a spandex suit?
Yep.
And no way to get the dignity back. Okay, well, I tell you what, guys. I know that probably some of you are upset for giving up your breakfast plans and wondering why you got up so early to see this. Trust me, there is a reason. Let me hopefully disrobe here. You know, this fits so much better a couple weeks ago before I bought the Halloween candy a little early. Been digging in the basket. But isn't that the case of how our lives usually go? You know, this is the periodic table. All 104 chemical elements, all dressed in these nice little rows and columns. They all fit together. They make up our whole world. And that's the way we expect our life to be. All nice and orderly. Until God comes along and says, I got a totally different plan for you. And that's what happened to me. So I want to stop being a superhero. Because when God threw a little wrench in the works here, and my life wasn't what I expected it to be, that's what I went into. I went into superhero mode, thinking that I had to be the one that solved all the problems. And when I realized it wasn't me that was going to be the superhero. See, this presentation isn't about me or about my family. It's about figuring out who the real superhero is and how he ended up working through you guys. And it was through you that I found him. So let's talk about this. I have to admit, when talking about the dignity of life, I get very, very nervous. I mean, this is my personal story. I am not a public speaker. I'm a school teacher. You put kids in front of me, I can talk till the cows come home. This is very nerve-wracking to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all my physics demonstrations to calm me down a little bit and try to relate this to what was going on. Now, let's see how good your physics teachers were back in high school. You might have heard this thing called Newton's laws, Isaac Newton. He had one law that said this, the first law, the law of inertia. Objects in motion want to stay in motion in a nice straight line. Objects at rest want to stay at rest unless a force acts on them. And then the second law up here says that forces, they either speed things up, slow things down, or make things change direction. Well, that's what my life was like. It was, before all this happened, you know, I had a job at Trinity and I went to Mayo. My wife was, and still is, working at Baptist Hospital as a nurse. We had a beautiful daughter. Everything was perfect, we thought. And so our life was like this hovercraft. No friction, going in a nice straight line. Terry, I'm going to send this down to you. Let it bounce off of you and bring it back. And it just keeps going and going and going in a nice straight line until it hits something. And then it hits something and it bounces right back. Send it on back here, pal. You ought to be a bowler. Huh. But what I didn't realize is that when I bounced off something and it changed directions, that I was going to be heading right back towards that altar. Not that I ever really got away from it, but it was going to make it mean so much more. And I was too busy with the third law. The third law says this: for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So as I got more and more mad and upset, guess what God did? He got more and more loving through you guys. Noticing it in really small ways. The fact that as soon as we walked in the church, Holly and Terry came back and greeted us at the sign of peace. The fact that Donna Reed all of a sudden invited us to the faith club. Real small things all of a sudden made us realize that, hey, he's very much in our lives right now, just differently. Now, there is another law that's called the law of conservation of energy, or the conservation of momentum. Got some basketballs up here. One's a little bitty one and one's a big one. And when I raise this basketball in the air, I give it something called potential energy. It has the potential to fall, okay, and it bounces, okay. This is another little ball, has a little bit less energy because it's smaller, okay. But when it falls, all that potential energy, all the potential that God gives us changes into kinetic energy, okay. Well, what I didn't realize was this. I thought I had plenty of kinetic energy. My life was going just fine. Well, every time I tried to bounce this anger off of God, I didn't realize that that momentum was going to quadruple. Watch these two basketballs. The little one's me. The big one's God. Okay? I'm going to bounce off God. Dumb thing to do. Watch what happens. Let me try this. Oh, people in the front row, the demonstrations get more and more dangerous as we go along, so you sort of sit in a bad spot. Okay, that's right. The last church I put out the lights. Whoa! So if you notice, this is great to try in a gym, by the way. You can really make them sore. The little ball goes flying up to new heights that you would have never dreamed about. Well, that's what happened to our lives. Think about it. I'm not a public speaker. Who would have ever thought that that little boy's story would be being talked about to hundreds of people? Who would have ever thought that the New York Times would have picked this up on Christmas Eve? It's spread all over the place. And then all of a sudden, 5 national TV shows We were on 5 national TV shows. Talk about nerve-wracking. We got to meet the President of the United States. That little boy met the President of the United States twice. And not to mention, we got to go present this to the Prime Minister of Turkey, a primarily Muslim country wanting to hear a very Christian message. So talk about God sending us and bouncing us to new heights. We had no clue what was in store for us. You know, there's this saying from Corinthians here, 1 Corinthians 2:9, that says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard what God has ready for those who love him. We had no clue. Now, I have to admit, though, whenever you have kids, no matter whether they're healthy or what, they don't come with an instruction manual. The pressure is overwhelming. And I want to talk to you about that pressure, and I need to borrow you. Come here. We're going to do something really fun. I'm going to shrink wrap you. Yeah, you're just like perfect. Just stay right there. Hold on. Some of you in the back might have to stand up here to see this, but that's okay. Think we can just put you right here? Right here, be good? Okay, here's what I want you to do. Do you think you could take off your shoes? All right. You're perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put you in the bag. Just go ahead and sit in the bag. And go ahead and sit Indian style. Oh, you can't, oh, sorry. Can't say Indian style anymore. It's crisscross applesauce. You know, everybody's got, all right, so here's what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to take your hair, I'm going to take it out of the bag so it doesn't get all wrapped up here. There we go. You have beautiful hair. All right. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to take this vacuum cleaner, okay? And I just want you to hold it like this so that the bag doesn't get wrapped up. And here's what I want you to know. Everybody look at their thumb. That's about a square inch. On every square inch of your body, you have 14 pounds of pressure pushing down on it. Now, you don't feel it because there's also 14 pounds of pressure pushing back up. Well, what I'm going to do, what's your name? Oh, that's pretty, Felice. I'm going to take all the pressure that pushes back up and take that away from you so you feel all the pressure pushing down. And what we're going to do is we're going to shrink wrap her. Watch this. Okay, here we go. You ready? Okay, we're just going to pour here is all. Okay, here we go. Now let me know if you can't breathe. All right, here we go. It's going to turn it on here. You are perfect. Good? Now, make sure this doesn't get sucked up. There you go. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, are you okay? She can't move at all. Try to move. You can't move at all. That's right. Now, and here's the reason why. All that pressure's pushing down on her. Give her a big round of applause. Good job, Felice. That's fun, isn't it? You did awesome. Oh, careful. Careful. Well, guys, that's what it felt like. We were being completely smothered. All the weight of all the pressure was just coming down on us, and we couldn't move. Psychologically, we had no clue what to do. We thought everything was over. Well, what I forgot was this. Remember how I said there's 14 pounds of pressure pushing down? Well, there's also 14 pounds of pressure doing what? Pushing back up. Now, this one here, sometimes this demonstration doesn't work real well. So I always bring out my bucket because I don't trust it. All right. A little jar of water. Can everybody see the water? 14 pounds of pressure pushing down on that plate. I'm going to turn the plate over. Please work. Please. If you notice, that 14 pounds of pressure pushes back up and can hold that water in there. But we don't trust it because it's invisible. Just like we don't trust him sometimes because he's invisible. And I mean, look at this. I'm going to get my bucket because I don't trust it. I can shake that pretty good. And it still doesn't fall. And what I had to learn was he can shake me pretty good and I won't fall if I trust him. Does that make sense? So, it was through all you people that I started gaining more and more trust, because every time we got into a situation to which we couldn't handle, something would come and help us out. You know, Mother Teresa once said this. You got to love her. God never gives me anything I can't handle. I just wish you wouldn't trust me so much. I like to sort of switch her saying around. Says, God never gives me anything I can't handle. I just wish I would trust him more. Exactly. So once again, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, but God is ready for those who love him. Now, I want to do this next one here, and I'm going to need a lot of support. Uh-oh. Anyway, we're going to talk about the center of gravity. I want everybody to stand up if you can. If you can't, just don't worry about it. Okay? Now, we're going to find out where your center of gravity is. Your center of gravity is basically where your belly button is. Now, mine has gotten a little bit farther out over the years because I have something called Dunlop disease. It Dunlopped over my belt a few times. You know what I'm saying? All right, so what we're going to do is you're going to start leaning forward and watch what happens when your belly button goes beyond your toes. What happens? You start to fall. Okay, you can take a seat, and I'm going to need some young men up here that don't have any real serious physical disabilities. Okay, can I grab you and you? And, right? Can you? No? Okay. And let's see here. I just need two more young guys. Can you come on up here, you two? All right. Now, some of you might have seen this before. Boy, these chairs are heavy. Okay. You know what? We need 4 young women, too. Can I borrow you 4 right here? Just come on up. Yeah, you don't, yeah, if you look away, you still have to come up. Yeah, come on. You can do this. All right. Now, here's what we're going to do. I had to learn that God just doesn't speak. You know, you're not laying in your bed one day and all of a sudden you hear his voice. That's just not the way it works. He speaks totally through other people. And my center of gravity had to be him. But sometimes he's invisible. So here's what we're going to do. I had to realize that there's no superhero. It happens through my church. My center of gravity focuses around me and my family supporting us and my friends. So these 4 gentlemen here are going to represent those 4 groups. Me, my family, my friends, and my church. Okay? So here's what I need you to do. I want you to sit in this chair right here. Okay? And just face the, hold on. Yeah, you're going to face the back of the church. I mean, you're going to sit over here. And you're going to face that direction. You know, thanks for being here today, Bud. And you're going to face the altar. Have you done this before? No. Oh, good. You're going to regret it. Okay, and you're going to face the other one. Now, gentlemen, this is going to be a little bit strange to you guys because you're going to have to do something a little bit too friendly. I want you to move your butts towards the center as much as you possibly can because here's what's going to happen. And I want your legs straight down on the ground because they're going to lay back in your lap. So you're going to face over here. Okay. Good. I want you completely straight. Perfect. Legs straight down, straight down, straight down. So when you guys lay back, you're going to feel your back on his legs. You're going to feel your back on his legs. You're going to feel your back on his legs and so forth. Okay? Now, ladies, here's what we're going to do. Once they get comfortable, you're going to pull the chairs out. So nothing is going to be holding them up. Okay? So once again, I want you to make sure you're feeling totally comfortable before you do this. Okay? So just sort of lay back and get friendly with each other. Not too friendly. It is a church. Okay, come on back. Go ahead and lay back. Lay back. Go ahead and get your hands up. There, go ahead and lay back. All the way back. You're going to be fine. Lay back. Lay back in their laps. All the way down. All the way down. Go all the way down. Now, not that friendly. Come on. Okay. Okay. Now, ladies, come here. Now, go ahead. The farther back you go, because I know you don't want to lean back because you feel like you're going to fall. I had to get ready to trust too. All the way back. Go ahead, Joe. All the way back. Lean your head all the way back like you're from. Okay, ladies, get behind each chair. Now, hold on. Guys, do you feel your weight on the other person? Okay. Now, what I need you to do, I need you to lift your butts up just a little bit so we can pull these chairs out and don't move around, okay? Try to lift your butt up just a little bit. There's 1. There's 2. This one's going quick. Come on, we can do it. We can do it. You got it. Oh, my! Oh. Dang it. It worked last night. Oh, no. Thank you very much. You're doing awesome. I told you would regret it. You're fine. You're fine. You're not. Thank you, guys. Sorry about that. It did work last night. Dang it. All right, y'all can take a seat. Actually, what did you just ask me? Ma'am, first of all, what's your name? Carol, I'm Jeff. Glad to meet you. Thank you so much for that. What did you just ask me? If it was her fault. Now, wait a minute. Do you see how it was working until one person gave up? It was all her fault. No, it wasn't all her fault. No. Here's the deal. We got to be in this together. I cannot help Adam. He can't help me unless we have those other people with us. And boy, did I feel that when I got to this church. I mean, trust me, some churches really have issues with the noise that we create sometimes. You know, it's hard to pray. It's hard to be reverent. But you guys were so welcoming. So we got to make sure that we're all supporting each other. Oh boy, this one here. You thought the last one was bad. Here we go. All right. When all this was going on, I felt like my life was flying out of control. Sort of like this platform swinging around my head. Doesn't it look like it's flying outward? But when you spin something in a circle, which way do you have to pull? Does anybody know which way I'm pulling? I actually have to pull inward. It's called centripetal force. I have to pull towards the center. Well, what I didn't realize was God was actually pulling me towards the center. And I didn't realize it with these 4 strings that represented me, family, friends, and church. And, of course, he made it a little bit dangerous because you got to do it with water. You always feel like you're going to drown, right? So we're going to put a little water in here. Actually, I put a lot of water in there. Has anybody not been baptized yet? We'll turn you into a Catholic. Watch this. Okay. All right. I'm always afraid of this one. Okay, hold on. I got to get it centered. Oh, wait a minute. Can you touch that center and tell people it's not sticky? And what about the bottom of the cup? Okay. I wished it was sticky. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Jeez. I mean, I felt like my life was completely flying out of control, but God was bringing me back towards the center and holding me right there the whole time, and he let me do things that people thought were absolutely impossible. And what's almost impossible is stopping. He never tells me how to stop, because slowing down could get really, really, really dangerous. Because when you slow down, it just might fall off, but it doesn't. And this is when you clap. Thank you. So once again, constantly centripetal force bringing me back to him. And what I meant by bringing me back to the center is the sacraments. Here's his Adam, first communion picture, confirmation picture. And I want to talk to the young people here, because it was the young people that taught me this. I was at St. Pius, and Jack Clark, the DRE there, after church one day, said, "Jeff, could you teach 4th grade Sunday school?" I said, "Jack, there is no way. Adam's going to sit there and scream the whole time. The kids will be distracted. It's just not going to work." There was a young lady, in fact, she showed up unannounced last night, and it just blew me away. Her name was Shelby Rich. At the time, she was an 8th grader. And she said, "Well, Mr. Wright, I have always wanted to be a special ed teacher. Why don't you let me take care of Adam, and you can teach?" And I'm thinking, Shelby, first of all, you're only in 8th grade. You don't know what you're getting yourself into, but her and Adam are actually pretty good friends. And I said, I just don't know. But anyway, I tried it. Well, come 2nd grade the next year, she said, "Hey, I want to do this again, and Adam can receive his first communion." And I'm thinking, Shelby, Adam doesn't understand what the Eucharist is. And just like a normal 8th grader, you know what she said? And she wasn't being smart aleck. She looked right at me and she said, "Well, do you?" And I'm thinking, am I going to be, conceited enough to say that I do? Because I don't. I mean, I know it's the body and blood of Christ, but that doesn't really sink in until something happens. Well, by gosh, she led him through that whole year, and he didn't go up to communion in his wheelchair. He walked. Now, it was with a lot of help, but we had him walk up the steps to receive communion. And here's what that taught me. It was nothing more incredible than when I saw him doing that, and I'm thinking, my God, what you must have thought when you saw your son walking up to Calvary. Talk about something that made that Eucharist mean completely something different to me. Well, what happened 6 years later? It's confirmation time. Shelby's still with him. And she said, I bought all the stuff for special education confirmation. And I'm thinking, Shelby, confirmation, you got to make a conscious choice to be an adult in the church and receive these gifts. And we even talked to Father Bill Burks, and he said, I just don't know if he's ready for that. Well, he said, but I'm going to talk to the Archbishop. Well, the Archbishop, I didn't know this, has a special needs brother. And Archbishop Kurt says, you better believe he's making his confirmation. But you know what? The confirmation wasn't necessarily just Adam's. It was mine. Because look at the gifts you get. Here's the gifts. Now, piety, I don't get much of that one, but that's okay. Let's go to the next one, all right? Understanding. I had to be really understanding of what was going on with all this stuff. Fortitude. I had to fight like crazy sometimes just to keep going. The fear of the Lord. Every time that I didn't trust him, I had to realize, yeah, he was going to be there for me. Wisdom. A lot of people gave me a lot of wisdom going through all this. In counsel and knowledge, you learn so much. It was through Adam's confirmation that I realized that I was confirmed. Pretty incredible. So once again, eye has not seen, ear has not heard what God had ready for those who love him. I got a story to tell you here about a chicken and a pig. It was the farmer's birthday. And the chicken and the pig said, we got to get the farmer something. And the pig said, yeah, but what are we doing? And the chicken said, I got a perfect idea. We'll get him breakfast. Farmers like breakfast. And the pig said, well, what are we going to get him for breakfast? And the chicken said, well, this is easy, bacon and eggs. Now, for those of you not laughing, for the chicken, it's just simply a donation. Give an egg or two. The pig has to die to get the bacon, right? It's a lifelong commitment for the pig. Well, I think that's what we get involved with sometimes. The fact that sometimes we just want to give a little donation and say, hey, that helps solve the problem. When you have people in your life that need you, it's a lifelong commitment. No matter how much they screw up and hurt you, you still have to have that lifelong commitment. Now, it's sort of also like a pipe organ. Now, pipe organs have a whole bunch of different size pipes. Just like every one of us are different. I need at least 8 people, and you don't have to be that musically inclined, but if you know a little teeny bit about music, if you can keep a beat, that would be nice. So can I just have 8 people? It makes no difference who. Anybody, you're really going to make me, you're one of them. Oh, good. There's 3. Good. I need at least 5 more. I'm going to start picking people. You've already been there. All right. You're awesome. Cool. Come on. Thank you. You're awesome. Great. How many have we got now? We got 5. I need 3 more. I know you keep looking that way and you think I'm not going to pick you. Come on. Let's see here. Let's see. Can you keep a beat? You're awesome. I think I need, let's see. So that gives me 7. Can I pick you? Come on up. I think we're good. Okay. Now you guys are going to be actually looking at the screen, and I'm going to give you these tubes. Oh, goodness sakes, this is not good. Oh, boy. I just almost made a big mistake. Okay. Just pick a tube, any tube. Great. Cool. I got to get one more. All right. Now, on your tubes is a letter. Okay, it's a musical note. So look and see what letter you have. And up here, I put the music to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Okay? Now, if you notice, sometimes there are melody lines, sometimes there are harmony lines. And I know I didn't write them real straight, but maybe it'd be better if I did this with my finger. Yeah, I think it's going to be better if I do it with my finger. Okay. So, if you notice, who is a C? You're a C and you're a C. Okay. So you guys are going to actually play the first 4 notes because you have 2 in the harmony line and you also have 2 in the melody line. And I know they're not straight up and down from each other. Just try your best here, okay? So here's how you play them. Just beat them on your hand for a second. Everybody beat their... We got that? Okay. This is much better. Okay, good. So I'm going to point to the notes and you simply play it, your note, when it comes up. Okay, now you got to look at both lines. Now let me show you how this is going to work because I was too lazy to write all the music. We're going to go, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Boy, that's really off. Hang in there. Up above the world so high. You got to repeat the last line. Like a diamond in the sky. And then we go back up here. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Okay, right? I know. Come on, you guys can do this. Everybody know their notes? 3, 2, 1. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high. Back here. Like a diamond in the sky. Good. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, I wonder what you are. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. Give me a round. You're the only one that bowed. Turn around, guys, and take a bow. There you go. I'll take this. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. 2 more. Let me ask you a question. I've got to make sure I get out of here in 10 minutes. What would happen if one of the notes weren't there? Say again? It wouldn't sound like the song. Isn't the music the most important thing? The song. It has to have meaning. And if any one of us don't play our note, you don't hear the music. Would you believe that somebody once asked me, if you had another kid like Adam, would you have an abortion? Now, here's the sinful thing. You don't think that doesn't go through your head? Yesterday at 4:20 in the morning, when he's throwing a fit, and you know you're going to be changing diapers for the rest of your life, and you've had 3 hours of sleep, and you're just at your wit's end. You don't think that doesn't go through a person's head? But if we did that, he wouldn't be able to play his note. And his note must be pretty important because he's the one who gets all the attention when we walk in the door. You go to Kroger, the person in the deli, the bakery, stops doing whatever they're doing. I don't know why. They come and make sure that he has a cookie. I sure don't get a cookie when I walk in the door. It's amazing how somebody that cannot speak, that you wouldn't think their note would be very important, makes a big difference to a lot of people's lives. We can't be the one that makes that decision. We got to play the music. So as we go along here, I know I've got another story, naturally. One of Adam loves all the athletes at Mayo. And 3 years ago, we won the state championship. And our quarterback, Hayden Shelton, he was asked to speak at FCA. That's the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Okay? Hayden was not a public speaker. He could throw a football till the cows come home, but he could not speak in front of people. And he said, what do you do? And I said, well, think about a story in your life that was important to you, that made a big difference. And I said, just talk about that. And here's what he ended up doing. He ended up getting a fairy tale that his mom read to him. He took Adam out in front of him, sat down, and read this fairy tale to Adam. And talk about something that changed all of our lives that day. It was this story. It was the story of the 3 trees. See, there were these 3 trees. They were all standing up on a hill. And they were talking about what they wanted to be when they grew up. And the first tree said this: I want to grow up and I want to be made into a beautiful treasure chest, so everybody can put their finest gold and finest treasures in me, and I'm important. And the second tree said, I don't want to be anything like that. I want to be made into a huge ship and carry famous people across the oceans. And the third tree said, heck with that. I want to stay right here and grow as tall as I can. That way when people look at me, they look up and they see the face of God. Well, those trees did not get what they wanted in life. The first tree, it was cut down way before its time and made into a little feeding trough to put in a barn, hay in it. The second tree, once again, didn't grow up to be as big as it wanted to. It was made into a little fishing boat. And the third tree, it was cut up into a bunch of lumber. Well, here's what happened. One night, a couple that was pregnant, really pregnant, came into a town. There was no room in all the hotels. And so the only place they could go to have this kid was a barn. Lady has the kid. Where did they place the kid? In that little feeding trough with all the hay in it. They laid it right there. Wrapped it up in clothes, put it right there. The second tree, this guy came along one day. They were out fishing, and the seas got really, really, really rough, tossing that boat all over the place. All of a sudden, this one guy standing in the back, sleeping in the back of the boat, finally wakes up. He calmed all the seas and started walking on that water. Now the third tree, the one that was made into a bunch of timber, one day some Roman soldiers arrested that guy. They made a cross out of that tree and nailed that guy to that cross. You see, none of those trees got what they wanted in life. Or did they? They might have got much more. You see, that one tree wanted to hold all the treasure. Didn't the first tree hold the most valuable thing in the whole world? The second tree wanted to ship famous people across the oceans. We all know that story. That famous person will never, ever go away. And the third tree, people were looking up at that tree. They saw the face of God. See, we get much more in life than we ever dreamed if we let Him be in control. Just got to trust it. Still trying to learn how to do that. Now, my wife, can you imagine being married to me? Holy cow. My wife, when we got married, she was scared to death that day. And she talked to Father Bill Burks and Father Dale Sleeslick, and she said, I just can't do this. And Father Bill said, well, yeah, you are. We got all these people here. And so Father Bill said, here's what I want you to do. As you go up there, I want you to look at the aisle, and then I want you to look at the altar, and then I want you to look at Him. I want you to look at the aisle, then look at that altar, and then look at Him. He said, repeat this with me. Look at the aisle, altar, Him. Look at the aisle, altar, and Him. She started a cadence. And the whole way up the aisle, you know what she was saying? Aisle, altar, Him. Aisle, altar, Him. Aisle, altar, Him. And her 25 years of marriage now, she's been trying to alter me the whole time. But you know what? That's sort of what we did with Adam. We were constantly trying to make him into something he wasn't. And what we realized was this. He was the one actually altering us for the better. Almost done. Sorry it's going so long. Uh-oh. One of the things I was really worried about was the stained glass window behind me. And I took a picture of it the other night when it was dark. Look at the picture that's actually on the film. Our lives are a lot like stained glass. If you're not looking at it the right way, it looks like an absolute mess. Just a bunch of pieces. Our lives can look pretty messy sometimes from a person looking from the outside. It's just a bunch of pieces. You know, they see me having to put up with him screaming or changing diapers, and they said, I would never want that. But you're looking at the stained glass in the wrong way. See, we get all wrapped up in the superficial perfection. We try to look at the picture. Well, God wants us to do more, love by action. So look at the real stained glass now. Look what it looks like when you let the light shine through it. So when you let his light shine through, it's a completely different, beautiful picture. And it's all being lifted right up to him. Okay? So love in our family might look messy, but this is where sacrificial love becomes apparent. That the perfect love is right up there with Jesus giving it on the cross. All right. Anybody have any clue what those are? Come on, they're a bunch of what? Stars, right? Wrong. Those are galaxies. That's a small part of our sky looking through the Hubble telescope, and all they are is galaxies. Now, here's the difference. A galaxy is made up of 100 billion stars. And every one of those stars might have a little planet or two going around it, just like our sun is. This universe is a really, really, really big place. And here's what I thought. When I thought about that, I'm thinking, wow, 99.9999% of the universe has no clue you even exist. We're just a worthless piece of dust floating around for no reason whatsoever. Or are we? Because something up there must love us a heck of a lot. See, our purpose and worth has nothing to do with our abilities. Really, we probably have no purpose at all if we were basing it on our abilities. It's actually the fact that we're created in his image. And here's the most important thing. We're not called to be superheroes. Our life is not going to be in these nice little columns and rows. When the pressure gets too much, we have to rely on that invisible force because we have to call that invisible force love, and we have to love like him. It's not our choice. I don't have a choice to love him. I'm called to do it. And if I don't do it, I have no purpose. And so when we all get together and you all help me out, it all gives us purpose. I got one more thing and then I'm done. We got to get ready for Mass. This father's going to get mad. I need one more person that's not scared to get hurt. Let's see here. Do I try it again? Come here. All right. I forgot your name already. Felice. Okay, Felice, here's what's going to happen. And then we're almost done. I'm going to want you to stand up here, and I'm going to charge you up with 22,000 volts of electricity. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I want you to take your hand, and I want you to grab onto that lightning. Boom. You see how it's attracted to her? There's a spark inside of you that wants to go to you. Now, here's what's even more incredible. Go ahead and keep touching that. I want you to grab this light bulb. We're going to see if we can make this work. I might have to do it a different way. I want you to grab it right there. Good. Now, watch this. But it won't work unless she reaches out and touches. Uh-oh, you got to keep touching that one. You're trying to do experiments, aren't you? The only way it works is if she reaches out and touches me. You keep holding it, okay? I'm going to let go. You keep holding it. If she doesn't touch me, it gets really dim. But when her spark inside of her touches somebody else, all of a sudden it gets really, really bright, and we light up this world a whole heck of a lot, don't we? That's what we're called to do. That's why we have to respect the life that's given us, because it's not ours. We have to give it to other people, okay? You are awesome. Good job, girl. So let me end this so everybody else can get back in church. So we need to end with a prayer. Once again, today's homily was all about, making yourself last instead of first and being a servant. I cannot thank you enough for serving us. We could not do it. Trust me, our family could not do this if it wasn't people like Deacon John back there and Mary Margaret, who has blessed us by taking care of Adam during this. And thank you for asking me. It is such an honor because it gives us purpose to be able to share this story. So I want to end with a prayer. Let me be God's light to you in the nighttime of your fears And let me hold my hand out to you and feel that love you long to hear. We are pilgrims on a journey. We are travelers on the road. And we are here to help each other walk the mile and bear the load. Will you let me be your servant? Let me give God's love to you. Pray that I may have the grace to let you be my servant too. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Good. Thank you. I don't mean to be rude, but I got to get all this stuff picked up so Father can get back up. So.
We have a little token from the parents for you for just being with us
Thank
and
you.
giving us inspiring.
I appreciate that. It was fun. Thank y'all so much. And thank y'all so much for volunteering. Let me do this.